Today we continue the second noble truth of origin of suffering. First, we need to recite Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Sija Pali. Can you follow me? Ittamija Bhikkhave Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Sijam Yayantana Bono Bhavika Nandiraga Sagata Tatra Binandini Sayatidam Kamatanam Bhavatana Vibhavatana. We recite together. Kadamija Bhikkhave Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Sijam Yayantana Bono Bhavika Nandiraga Sagata Tatra Binandini Sayatidam Kamadana Bhavadana Vibhavadana. Translation, follow me. And what bhikkhus is the noble truth of the origin of suffering? It is that craving which gives rise to further rebirths and bound up with pleasure and lust, finds ever fresh delight, now here, now there, to which the sensual craving, the craving for existence, and the craving for non-existence. So second noble truth of the origin of suffering, the cause of suffering is tanha or craving. Today we have to listen the Yayantana Bono Bhavika. Bono Bhavika. Craving has a tendency to give rise to fresh rebirth, new rebirths. And also one story of Sumanatiri, who passed through 13 existences, encountering ups and downs, vicissitude of life. Tanha, craving has the nature of delighting and clinging. A being finds delight in whatever existence. Whatever existence it is born into, and enjoys any sense object that presents itself. Because craving finds its existence so delightful and pleasurable, there comes the wish for this existence to remain everlasting, stable, and pleasurable, objects to be endurable and lasting. So he or she endeavor to maintain them as he or she wishes. And then what have to play? Karma or volitional activities come into play. So these karmas or volitional activities may be wholesome or unwholesome. These wholesome or unwholesome volitional activities are the cause of rebirths in new existence. So one life we reborn, and then aging, and finally we die. At the moment of dying, what appear to our mind's eyes? When a person is about to die, one or the other of these meritorious deeds or demeritorious deeds may appear before his or my eyes, or there may appear karma nimitta, the symbol of the karma, which is any sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or idea which had obtained at the time of the commission of the karma. Or there may appear gati nimitta, signs of destiny. That is a sign of the next existence, where he or she is destined to open his or her new life in consequence of that karma. So the karma or karma nimitta, signs of this, signs of karma or gati nimitta, signs of destiny, presents itself to the dying person. So that nimitta is tenaciously grabs at because of tanha, because of craving. So that karma or karma nimitta or gati nimitta cannot be dispelled, cannot be removed from the minds of the dying person. So there is the result of our the whole life. So the karma or karma nimitta or gati nimitta cannot be dispelled from the minds of the dying person. It is just like the shadows of a mountain thrown by the evening sun falls on the surface of the land and covering it. So in the same way, these sets objects of karma, karma nimitta or gati nimitta present themselves at the sense door, completely occupy the minds of the dying person. So these sense objects are tenaciously held by the death proximates Javana, Maranasana Javana in Pali. Then he or she die. Immediately after the dissolution of the death moment, Namarupa arises. Namarupa, new Namarupa arises. aggregates of Namarupa, linking consciousness, arises at a new site in a new existence. It is complete with its physical base upon which it depends. And with each consciousness arise also is Cetasika, mental concomitants. So the relinking consciousness is followed by Bhavinga Ceta, the life continuum, which goes on continuously throughout life as prescribed by our own karmic energy. So the arising of new existence is brought about by two factors, our own karma and tanha, karma and craving. So without tanha, without craving, without attachment, however, karma by itself cannot bring about new becoming. So tanha forms the root cause of fresh becoming. For this reason, Buddha pinpointed tanha, craving, to be the cause of new existence. Yayan tanha, born of bhavika. Tanha has a tendency to give fresh rebirth. These are the words which the Buddha had used in the very first discourse, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, to teach the existence of afterlife. So long as tanha endures, through failure to develop Eightfold Path, or even if developing, not being fully advanced in accomplishment, so long this craving will continue to serve as the cause for fresh existence, Purnabhavika. So when the Eightfold Path has been fully accomplished, you are practicing Eightfold Path or Satipatthana meditation. When your meditation is fully accomplished and Arahata Path and fruition attained, tanha, attachment, will be completely eradicated, and there will be no more rebirth, no more new becoming, no more suffering for that practitioner. So when exercising retrospection on attainment of enlightenment as the Buddha or an Arahant, the thoughts always occur to the noble ones. Ayam mantima jati nati dani punabhavati. This is the last existence, last becoming. There is no more rebirth for me. So this reflection is also included in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. So such reflection make it obvious that unless tanha is completely rooted out, continuous fresh existence, new becomings are unavoidable. So how this Tanna brings on repeated rebirths, we will now illustrate with few stories. The famous story, the story of the young pig, Mimi pig, is from Tamabara, Tanawega. So at one time, Buddha went into Rajagara for alms round, and Buddha saw a young female pig. When Buddha saw that young female pig, Buddha smiled. And the commentary described the Buddha as smiling. They said Buddha smiled, showing the tips of his teeth. So Buddha might smile with one of the first of these two kinds of smiling. Sometimes Buddha smiled. Venerable Ananda was following behind the Buddha. Whenever the Buddha smiled, Venerable Ananda knew, and he would ask, Bande, why have you smiled? Or Bande, what is the reason for your smiling? Venerable Ananda asked, how did Venerable Ananda, who was behind the Buddha, know that Buddha had smiled? It is said that when Buddha smiled, he showed the tips of his teeth. From his teeth, white rays were emitted. Buddha emitted 6 rays sometimes. From the teeth and the eyes, the white rays were emitted. When the Buddha smiled, the rays went out, and so Venerable Ananda knew from these rays that Buddha has smiled. So Venerable Ananda asks, Bande, what is the cause of your smiling? And Blessed One pointed out the young female pig to Ananda and said, Ananda, do you see that young female pig? Yes, Bande. Ananda replied, and Buddha said, she was a young woman in human existence during the dispensation of Kakusanda Buddha. When she died, she was reborn a hen in the neighborhood of a monastic feeding hall. A small hen fell victim to an eagle, but fortunately, earlier she happened to have heard the recitation by a yogi Buddhist monk of a meditation subject. So that recitation of a meditation subject aroused in her wholesome thoughts. By virtues of these merits, the small hen was reborn as a princess named Obari in the royal family. The Princess Obari later left the household life and became a wandering mendicant, residing in the mendicant's residence. She happened one day to gaze at the maggots in the latrine. The worms, the maggots, serves as an object for meditation. So what meditation? Contemplation on ugliness of worm-infested corpse, Puluwaka Sinya, or contemplation of a white object or Data Sinya. You can find in the 40 types of samatha meditation. By contemplating worm-infested corpse or contemplating a white object, she attained the first jhana. When she passed away, she was reborn a Brahma in the first jhanic Brahma world. And after this life, on expiry from Brahma world, she became the daughter of a rich man in the human world, which she left again only to be born a pig now, Buddha said. And Buddha continued, I saw all these events which made me smile, Buddha said to Ananda. So why Buddha smiled? So Buddha reflected, so long as Dana mental defilements persist, repeated rebirths and suffering will take place in various existences. Now Buddha and his disciple were free from this Dana mental defilements and no more suffering for them. Buddha reflected this in his mind, so Buddha smiled. Now you understand why Buddha smiled when he saw the pig, young female pig. Or hearing this story of repeated births in various existences, Venerable Ananda and other monks became greatly alarmed and agitated with samvega, sense of urgency. So Buddha stopped going on arms round and while still standing on the roadway, started teaching the Dharma in 6 verses. So the first teaching is Yata Bimule Nupadawe Danle Jainopi Roko Punarewa Ruhati Ewampi Tana Nusaye Nuhate Nebadati Dokamitam Puna Punam. Buddha recited, Buddha started teaching this Dhamma. That means if the main roots of a tree remain undamaged and in good condition, even when the upper branches are cut off, the tree will grow again, developing new buds and shoots. In the same way, if there remains mental defilements lying dormant, which are not yet eradicated by Ariya Mega, this suffering of rebirth will arise time and again successively. So what you understand this teaching, what is conveyed by this verse is, during her existence as Princess Obri, she renounced the world to become a wanderer. By practicing meditation, she attained the first jhana. She attained the first jhana, which could put away by Vikambanapana, elimination by discarding only the mental defilements of Priyutana Kilesa. So there are three Kilesa: transgressive Kilesa, obsessive Kilesa, obsessive mental defilements, and latent defilements. So when she attained the first jhana, what kinds of kilesa are eliminated? Obsessive tanha or obsessive mental defilements are discarded. Craving for sensual pleasures, which appears as sensual thoughts at the mind's door. So by means of this, the jhana can put away the mental defilements only a certain distance for a certain period of time. So she was able to dispel the craving for sensual pleasures when she attained the first jhana, and later on in the Brahma world, she reborn. But when she was born again in the human world, as the daughter of a wealthy man, the craving for sensual pleasures reappeared because it had not been rooted out by the Ariya Mega. So the Bhavadana craving for existence, of course, persisted even when she had attained the jhana, because the latent mental defilements had not been completely uprooted. She had to descend from the Brahma world through the human world into a pig's existence. So remember, so long as the craving persists, repeated rebirths will take place in this way in various existences. So in reference to this story of descent from the Brahma world to a pig existence, ancient teachers had left an aphorism. In Brahma land, she shines bright. In pig's pen, too, she finds delight. But you need to understand, it is not possible to be reborn as a pig straight from the Brahma world. Brahma cannot be reborn as a pig directly or straight from the Brahma world. Or Brahma it is not possible to be reborn as other animal or hungry ghosts or hell straight from the Brahma world. Because Brahma, they have upachara samadhi, access concentration. By virtue of upachara bhavana, the access concentration approximates to the jhana previously attained. Rebirth can take place only as a human beings or in the celestial abode. The young female pig here also passed through human life, where she was born as a daughter of a wealthy man. It is quite possible that she landed in a pig's existence after being the daughter of a wealthy man because of the bad karma she had committed then in being haughty and arrogant to those she should have shown respect. So when the young female pig died, she was reborn in the royal family of Sunabhumi, which is generally taken to be the country of Tathong, Myanmar. But some scholars take Suvarnabhumi to be the Sumatra island, relying on the bronze inscription made by the king Devapala about 1500 Buddhist era. From being a prince of Suvarnabhumi, she passed over to Varanasi, India as a woman. Then she became a woman of Vanavasi in southeast of Bombay, India. From there, she was reborn the daughter of a horse merchant in the seaport town Sobakraka, northwest of Bombay. Next, she became the daughter of a ship owner at the port of Kawira in the southeasternmost part of the Indian peninsula. So this is a coastal district inhabited by the Tamil people, formerly called Tamila. After that life, she was reborn in the family of a government official at Anuradha, or present day in Sri Lanka. Her next life was as a daughter of a rich man named Sumana from Bokanda village, a village south of Anuradha. She took the same name as her father, Sumana. Later, her father left that village and settled down in the Mahamuni village of the Digawapi district. One day, a minister of the king Dotagamani named Lakondaga Atembara visited Mahamuni village on a certain business. Upon seeing the young lady Sumana, the minister fell madly in love with her. Then he married her with great pomp and ceremony and carried her off to his village, Mahapona. A venerable Anuruddha resided at the monastery of Kotipapada. He happened to visit her village for alms round. While waiting for offer for alms food at the gate of Sumana's house, he saw Sumana and said to his monks followers, "Bhikkhus, how wonderful, what a marvel! The young female pig of the Blessed One's time is now the wife of the minister Lakondaga Atembara." And Sumana heard this exclamation. Sumana, the wife of the minister, developed Jatisaranyana, knowledge of previous existences. So with the help of this faculty, Sumana recalled to her mind the previous existences she had passed through. In consequence, she became agitated with samvega, with great fear at the seeing of repeated birth in the cycle of existences. And she asked permission from her minister husband, and she went to a Bhikkhuni monastery and she got herself ordained. After ordination, she listened to the discourse on Satipatthana Sutta at Tesa Mahavihara Monastery. And she practiced mindfulness meditation like yogi practice. Practicing mindfulness meditation in accordance with the Satipatthana Sutta, sitting, walking, standing, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing, etc. continuously, she became a Sotapanna, well established as a string winner in the first stage of the path and fruition. Then when King Dotagamani came on the throne, she went back to her native village, Paukanta, where at the Kanla Mahavihara monastery, she had the discourse of Asivisopama Sutta, which enabled her to attain the fourth stage of the fruition, and she became an arahant, completely free from anna, influxes, and passions. So we all go over the 13 existences of Sumana thoughtfully and mindfully, and we could get aroused with samvega, sense of urgency, when as a young woman at the time of Kakusanda Buddha died, she left behind her family, possessions, and her own physical body. The bereft family and friends would have grieved over her death. Then she became a hen. What a frightful thought, as human beings to be reborn a hen. That hen would have a family and friends too. She met with a terrible death from decapitation when an eagle seized her and struck her fiercely with its beak. However, there is a consolation that she was reborn a princess for the merits accrued for having had a discourse on meditation. Of course, the hen would not know anything about the Dharma, but as she had given devout attention to the discourse, certain merits would have accrued to her. For this reason, she was reborn a princess. So listening to a Dhamma discourse is very beneficial and fruitful. So it is a matter of gratification that she became a Brahma after being a princess by virtue of her jhanic attainment. Contemplation on the maggots and maggots or white object. So it is gratifying too that from the Brahma world, she was reborn in the human world into a wealthy family. But it is very distressing to know that she left behind her family, friends and possession, reluctantly to be reborn a female pig. So it is really frightful to think of descending to human plane from the Brahma world and to sink further stay into animal kingdom as a pig. So this should be enough to excite alarm and sense of urgency, because so long as noble Ariya Mega has not been established, we are liable to find ourselves landed in lowly states of existence. So it was with the intentions of arousing sense of urgency and exalting the bhikkhus to take to Dhamma in all earnestness. Buddha expounded them on account of the female pig successions of existences. Because of this reason, Buddha expounded this story. So how the young female pig met her death was not mentioned in the text, but it could be presumed that she was slaughtered by a breeder, as in modern times. The young female pig must have had a family and friends which she left behind. It caused grief to them. And it was comforting that she was reborn afterwards as a human being in 6 places, from Suvarnabhumi to Anuradha. But in each of these existences, every time she departed from one life, there must have been considerable suffering from sorrow, lamentation, and grief for her and her dear ones. That she finally became Bhikkhuni Sumanateri is the most heartening part of the story. The cause of the cessation of her existences, departing from one life to be reborn in another, is Tanha or Samudaya Sicca. The truth of the origin of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering. If the person is not yet not yet rid of tanha, he or she will go through the cycles of rebirths, dying from one life to be reborn in another. So it is extremely important to get established in the practice of Noble Ariya Path or Satipatthana meditation in order to eradicate tanha or the truth of the origin of suffering. So Sumanateri in this story first heard the discourse on Satipatthana Sutta. Then she practiced mindfulness meditation in accordance with the Satipatthana method. The Satipatthana method helped her attain the status of Sotapanna, the stream winner. So yogi need to practice very seriously in accordance with the Satipatthana method. Then she heard the Asi Visopama Sutta, the discourse on virulent serpent. She devoted herself more ardently to the practice. And finally, she attained Arhata fruition to become a female Arhan. So tanha, otherwise samudaya, was completely eradicated from her. So there would be no more rebirth, no more suffering for her, and she would be enjoying peace after her pre-nibbana. So Sumanateri declared to her colleagues that she would fully pass away after Ayusankara, the vital principle for her present existence, had become exhausted. So her colleagues, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, requested of Sumanateri the story of her existences. As Sumanateri recounted, "Oh, my friends, I was a human woman at the time of the Kakusanda Buddha. When I died from there, I became a hen. I was killed by an eagle, which broke off my head and devoured me. Then I became a princess in the human world." And she continued to recount her past existences till the time of her final existence at Bokanda village. She concluded, "Thus, I have passed through 13 existences, encountering the ups and downs, vicissitude of life in each existence. But in this last existence, I was wearied of the cycles of rebirth, and I have become an ordained bhikkhuni and finally attained arhatship." And she continued, "Oh, my friends, I ask all of you, my righteous bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, put forth your endeavor mindfully to become fully accomplished in morality, concentration, and wisdom, or Satipatthana practice. Then she passed away, causing a sense of urgency in the minds of her audience, consisting of men, women, bhikkhus, and bhikkhunis. So this is the story of Sumana, the story of the young female pig. You can find in Dhammavada, Dhanawega, Sukrapotika story. So in this story, from this story, we can learn, we can get the lessons. So long as Tanna and Kilesa persist, repeated rebirths and suffering will take place in various existences. And Buddhas and his disciples were free from this Tanna mental defilements, and they have no more suffering for them. And Buddha reflected his minds. Because of this reason, Buddha smiled when he saw that young female pig. So we will continue tomorrow. We have to stop our discourse for today. By practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting rising, falling, sitting, standing, walking, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing continuously and meticulously. May all yogis eradicate tanha. May you completely overcome various kinds of suffering. May you all practitioners realize the real peace in the very near future.